Heyo everybody, Haku here with my review for One Piece Anime episode 799. Now we finally get into the Luffy Cracker fight a bit more, but I think it's the pacing that's hurting me. I really like this fight in this part of the story in the manga, but it feels like with the anime it's moving so slowly that I don't know. I don't know what to think. I'm still enjoying it compared to a lot of other things in One Piece, but I'm also like, I don't know, even with this episode there were really good parts that got me really excited about what was going on, and there were also just some not so good parts. But starting at the beginning, we see Reiju talking to Sanji. Sanji gets triggered thinking about his family, thinking about his older brothers, and they're having a family meal in the morning, I believe. Is what they said was going on. Then we get into some Luffy and Cracker stuff, and it was really good. I loved them going back and forth, Cracker blocking all of Luffy's attacks, Luffy still going in and getting knocked back and everything. I thought that was all good. I thought there was some good in-canon filler as well, where the homies all started running away like, oh no, we're going to get caught up in the fight. And then the One Flower's like, no, this is our job. We're the forest. We're the seducing woods. Come on, we got to get back in this. So they all group back in there. I thought that was actually a really cool little scene. Then Luffy mentions that the Haki, the armament Haki, is very strong with Cracker. And I remember, I don't know if I'm right, but I remember, at least in one of the translations I read, that in the manga he said that that was the hardest armament Haki he'd ever gone up against. So if that's true, I think that's really cool to note as well. Also, I like that Cracker pins Luffy down and he starts telling him, Sanji's a prince, he's royalty. You're a little pirate, just let him live a nice, comfy royal's life. So then Luffy is triggered by that, of course, because that's not the kind of guy Sanji is. And he goes gear forth, hits Cracker with the Kong gun to knock him back. Then we cut from that to Pedro and Brooke scoping out the chateau and seeing the Biscuit Warriors. Again, I like jumping around and seeing them, but I do almost feel like this episode there wasn't actually enough of the Luffy Cracker fight, and all this jumping around to the other characters does take away from it a little bit. Take away from the fight, that is, not really so much the episode. Because usually, I'm all for jumping around, seeing what different characters are doing, but for this it felt like maybe it was just in the wrong place. It felt like this should have been more focused on that fight, especially after seeing such heavy focus and such really good pacing with Boku no Hero Academia lately. And I know you can't really compare the shows because one has a lot bigger production and they only have to make 24 episodes for this season, and one there's an episode every single week, so of course the quality's not going to be as good. But I feel like they could have done so much better this episode, to tell the truth. But we see the Mirror World, we see Carrot and Chopper, good to see them, but kind of the same deal again. Then the part with Nami and the Forest was actually pretty great, though, because of Randolph and the Crane. Randolph and the Crane were great, and I saw so many comments on the episode saying Randolph and the Crane are the best thing about this arc so far. And they are really funny in the anime. I really like Randolph here. So then Nami pretty much just takes the homies in as her subordinates, because she can control them through fear with the Viva card. Then Luffy goes in with Cracker again, and we have the real Cracker revealed. And again, I guess this was just a scene I didn't like that much, because I don't know, it was so slow. I think it was too slow and drawn out. For one, there wasn't enough surprise or shock because it was so slow, and also I think the anime being so heavily censored, I think hurt it as well, because of there not being as much blood, or seeing the sword really slice into Luffy's arm with blood and stuff everywhere to really see the damage on Luffy. It just didn't feel important. It felt really light. It didn't feel like Luffy was really getting his ass kicked and getting bloodied up that bad. It didn't feel like he was getting all cut up by Cracker that badly, when really he should have looked a lot more injured. He did look a lot more injured in the manga. It's just that the anime censors pretty much all the blood, nearly all the blood, and it didn't used to, which is it's kind of a shame the way it's gone. Toei really not caring about One Piece that much, but it was, I don't know, it was a good scene, but it's like it was a good scene it's like if you read a book and there's a really good scene and then the movie happens and it's like, it's still the scene is good, it's just not as good as it was the first time. That's kind of how this is. It was a really good scene in the manga, really surprising and all. Then when it happened in the anime, it was like, it's the same scene, it's still the same good scene, it's just not as good this time, it wasn't handled as well. So I guess that's kind of what it is. It wasn't one of those things where it was great and I saw it I saw it animated and I'm like, oh my god, this is so great, it's wonderful animated, like the scene with the Raizodono is safe here scene with the minks. That was amazing in the anime. This didn't really do much in the anime, it didn't really work. So then the real Cracker pretty much says he can make infinite versions of what Luffy just needed Gear 4th to defeat. Limitless forces. And that's where it ends, essentially. And another problem was whoever is in charge of this, I hate to ever say whoever did this should be fired, but whoever's in charge of the sound effects for this arc, replace them, get somebody else to do sound effects, because the Vinsmoke Moon Boots, where it's just like this loud, springy noise in the middle of a serious, deep scene, is terrible. And then again, the loud static from Cracker's hair, just for some reason loud static. This loud static, it's so unnecessary and it's really stupid and it's way too loud even as well. Like, whoever's in charge of the sound effects this arc is doing a terrible, terrible job. And this was the thing, I thought this is one of my favorite parts of this arc. I thought that this was really good, but there were also just so many problems, like so many things that really leave out the sound effects. If his hair made no noise at all, nobody would have cared. It's like all these negatives are things that like could have been done better by just like, it's like, it's not even that it's they did something bad. They didn't even need to do anything good, just don't do the bad thing you did. But I did think it was a good episode. I thought that for current One Piece, it was even great. Like, for anime, it was a good episode. For current One Piece, it's a great episode. The animation I thought was really good for One Piece right now, especially in the first half. The first half was really good looking for One Piece. But in the end, we didn't really make as much progress as I expected, or as I kind of hoped or wanted. And yeah, the sound effects are just a mess right now. I did still want to give it a kind of good score though. So it's getting a little over an 8, which is actually a really good score. Because despite the negative stuff, it is still a good part in the story. It's just a good part where there were some mistakes that were made, some pretty big ones. So I'm still giving it 8.25. 8.25 Biscuit Warriors out of 10. I hope you liked the video, so if you did like the video, comment down there to tell me what you thought of this week's episode, what you thought of my thoughts on it. Subscribe for more One Piece, both anime and manga, a bunch more on the channel. Follow on Twitter if you want. I can try to keep you updated there and stuff for the channel. That is it, so thank you once again for watching, and I'll see you all next time.